Joining us now is Andrea Coady from the charity Nacro, which provides housing for prison leavers across the country. Andrea, very good afternoon to you. Welcome to the programme. Do we need more schemes like the ones we have in Northamptonshire?
Yeah, I mean, it's undoubtedly the case that homelessness on release from prison is still commonplace. And that's not to say that steps haven't been taken and there have been great strides in terms of the accommodation that is available for people on release from prison. It's something that the Ministry of Justice has acknowledged and has put in place emergency accommodation for short periods after prison, up to 84 days, for example, if people are facing homelessness. But we do know that people continue to slip through that net and people are still being released from prison homeless. And that just leads to an increased risk of reoffending, and it prevents people from rebuilding their lives on release. So it's a big problem for the individual, but it's also a big problem for all of our communities that benefit from people being able to turn their lives around on release from prison.
When you dig into the figures, Andrea, we have around 600 people who leave prison without accommodation every single month. I mean, what does that mean for reoffending rates?
Yeah, no, that's right. I mean, leaving prison homeless increases the risk of reoffending by about 50%. And also, leaving prison and being homeless means you stand no chance of getting a job. You stand no chance of kind of rebuilding your life going forwards. And in addition to those 600 people that are released without anywhere to go, there's also a really big number of people that are released into unsuitable or temporary accommodation, whether that's sofa surfing with friends or living in various accommodation that really is only temporary. And so in addition to people that are released homeless, there's also that group of people that might have somewhere to live on the first night or the first week or the first couple of weeks, but they're heading towards homelessness further down the line, and that that's a problem for a problem for them, and it means that it almost drives them into further offending, and people end up back in custody.
Are we setting people up to fail here, Andrew? Because it sounds like it.
Yeah, definitely. We know that people, when they go into prison, often have a range of issues and vulnerabilities. They may have mental health issues, learning disabilities or difficulties. They may have substance misuse issues. So they go into prison with a raft of issues. We then during the course of a prison sentence, quite often people lose the other support things around them. So they will, they might lose their job, they might lose their tenancy or their home, they might lose contact with friends and family. And then they are sent back out into society without the tools that they need to support themselves to lead better lives. So in a lot of ways, it's really not surprising that people go on to commit further offences.
Andrew, your charity, Nacro, you provide housing for prison leavers across the country. But
That's right.
How great is the demand on your service?
Yeah, I mean, the demand is huge, and it obviously varies from place to place and from time to time. But we see that there are enormous unmet need. We can't necessarily offer housing and support to everyone that comes to us or is referred to us, because we simply don't have the housing stock and the funding and the contractual arrangements that enable us to provide accommodation to everyone.
Okay. The Ministry of Justice has its own problems, of course. I think we're all acutely aware of the issues regarding justice and delivery of justice and prison service. But what are you doing to try and make the government sit up and listen? Because if 600 people leave prison without accommodation every month, it just means untold pressure on charities like you. It means that these people, we're not giving them a chance to reintegrate into society.
Yeah, absolutely. And the difficulty is that the criminal justice system is in absolute crisis, and has been heading in this direction for a really long time. And we've been campaigning around homelessness on release from prison for a long time. The figures used to be 1,000 people a month were being released homeless, so there is some movement in the right direction. But it is still the case that the figures are unacceptable. No one should be released from prison homeless, because it is just setting them up to fail. There is the CAS 3 accommodation, which I sort of touched on earlier, which is the accommodation that the Ministry of Justice funds for 84 days post-prison, that provides that emergency accommodation for those people that don't have anywhere else to go. But really what we need are those pathways from prison into temporary supported accommodation, but pathways then out of that